lights are on though, the race about to get underway. Bit of creeping as the lights go out. Pretty even start from the two on the staggered front row of the grid. So it's Dan Gore and Rob Wellham. It's Matthew Higginson that's made the best of the starts from the second row. He's got ahead of Murphy Aldridge in that green disc lock machine. Murphy Aldridge down to fourth as Higginson has a look at the inside, and so too does Tom Gadd. He tries to get fourth place away from Murphy Aldridge there as they round Druids for the first time.
Yeah, that's right. And out of the blocks, like a scalded cat, was Dan Gore, wasn't he? And he really is on it. You have to be in these cars. And he's built a lead of about 10 lengths at this point. Just fantastic to see. And there's Coast Cole, the pink car you've seen before, the Irish woman. And the field streaming through now, through to clearways. One or two very wide out there. But over the line they come.
And Wellham's slowing. Wellham is slowing. Number one, Rob Wellham, the championship leader, the reigning champion, is slowing. He's got a problem, I'm afraid. And you can just see him going slowly through Paddock Hill Bend there. And it looks like he is going to be out of the race. The drive from Suffolk pulls off onto the old Rallycross circuit. And he will go no further in this one. So that is a bit of an upset then. It means that Dan Gore will be well out in front. He was already 1.2 seconds ahead at the end of the opening lap from Higginson there in second. It's Tom Gadd now third and Murphy Aldridge in fourth position.
Yeah, absolutely. 48.02 from the standing start. That is very impressive. And here comes Dan Gore in the Mattel Cars Run machine. He leaves Higginson, but Higginson under attack now from Tom Gadd. Tom Gadd goes up wide into Paddock, then tries to duck down the inside. Murphy Aldridge is behind him, and they head on to that three into the 45s of the chasers.
They do indeed, as already then the lap record 44.92 under threat. There's Higginson going through shot in second place.
Yeah, Gore was half a second inside it in qualifying again.
He was, so good chance that we'll see the record go this afternoon. Second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth right together. You've got Craig Pollard and Tom Westworth in there as well. Pollard having taken over the car that Ben Powney has raced for the last couple of seasons. Over the line to complete lap number 3. Best lap that time from the leader, a 45.54. So within 6/10 now of the lap record.
Yeah, but there's nothing between the tops at a half dozen, is there, in terms of lap times? Absolutely fantastic. And there is Tom Gadd under pressure from Murphy Aldridge as they come down to Graham Hill Bend. Murphy Aldridge in the blue and red nosed car with the white top, and the green car, distinctive car of Matt Higginson, the disc lock car in second place. Gadd third, Aldridge fourth.
Yeah, out of clearways towards Clark Curve they come. Excuse me. Dan Gore 1.25 seconds clear at the beginning of the lap as the gap changed. It has gone out to 1.5 seconds, a 45.43 that time for the race leader. And the rest of them doing 45.6s and 7s between them all. There's Aldridge, second season of racing in the championship. And he comes into this race fourth in the standings, having had a pretty strong weekend at Silverstone 3 weeks ago and challenging Tom Gadd here, who was one of the drivers in contention for the overall championship last year.
He was, until a long way through, wasn't he? Had that bad round at Donington. But it's Dan Gore who leads the way. You see that chasing group coming through. Dan Gore in the dark car disappearing out of our screen. The bright green one there. And Matt Higginson is being closed on again by Tom Gadd as they come up into Paddock Hill Bend for the 6th time.
Majority of these cars powered by Suzuki engines. Adam Walker, one of the few exceptions, with a Yamaha engine aboard the number 14 car that runs in 9th position. Higginson's now got the best lap, 45.34 then. 1.09 seconds he is behind Dan Gore. He's just starting to shake off Tom Gadd now, who's still under pressure from Aldridge.
Yeah, Higginson got a little bit closer that time round, didn't he? And that fastest lap, 45.34, just took a tenth or so back. But here is Dan Gore, passed for the 6th time. 4.5 minutes on the clock.
And a 45.21, so every lap I think the lap time's coming down by a few hundredths. And it was Gore that extended his lead once again. It's common by Mattel Cars, who've branched out, haven't they, over the past few seasons, from building their own cars for RGB and bike sports to run cars in a range of motorcycle engine championships.
Even up to Pragas, you know.
Absolutely,
they've been
yeah.
very, very busy. The father and son team of Ian and Scott Mattel. Scott, a multiple champion within the 70 Motor Club, but of course the power behind that throne, his father, a brilliant craftsman.
Great impression of speed there as the cars come onto the start and finish straight once again. That's Aldridge there in fourth place, just beginning to lose a little bit of touch to Tom Gadd there, but not falling into the clutches of Tom Westworth, number 3, who's ahead now of Craig Pollard. Westworth, the 20-year-old from Rainhill on Merseyside, works in retail, been karting since the age of 6, and he's there in this Team Sellers Racing prepared F1000 Jedi. Westworth there in 5th place.
45.21, the best of the laps, and that's to Dan Gore. But I mean, look at that, the top half dozen down to 45.6, so really, really tight. Any improvements? 45.22 within 100th of a second.
And 45.12 now for Gadd in 3rd as well, so he's going to get the fastest lap now. A reminder, 44.92 is the target.
So they're a couple of tenths away, 5th of a second. That's all, and Gadd got a big wodge of opposite lock on to catch the tail there of his Jedi going through out of the hairpin. But here he comes, 3rd car in that group, the car with the fastest lap of the race so far. But Dan Gore has that advantage, 1.24 seconds after 8 laps, 1.24 seconds before that as well, because they both did identical laps last time round. Gadd just a tenth quicker. How's it going to evolve? 9 laps in, 1.32, 45.18 is the new fastest lap. No, new personal best to Gore. Still 45.12 for Tom Gadd, who's half a second behind in 3rd place, half a second behind 2nd place Higginson.
Last year at Brands Hatch, 3 races were won by Rob Wellham, Matthew Booth and Tom Gadd, so 3 different drivers. Well, we've lost Wellham from this race, so we'll have to start tomorrow, the later race, if he can get out. It's the last race today, from the back of the grid. Gadd is still very much there. Matthew Booth not racing an F1000 this season, although his car is in the hands of the car driver in 16th place, Gunlaga Jonasson, the Icelandic driver.
Yeah, interesting that. And first Icelandic race I can recall since Sverrir Thorodsson, who won a couple of Formula 3 races back in the 60s.
There's not many of them that doesn't, is there?
No.
Again, a slight mistake from Gadd there, but there's our race leader, Dan Gore. Now, he only had 1 race win last season. He finished 9th in the championship last year. He's already had 1 win this season. There, Tom Gadd, he had 5 wins last season, but despite having 5 wins, still only 3rd in the points behind Wellham, who had 2, and Matthew Booth, who had 3. Booth, who we've seen out in the Cup 200 cars this season with the 750 Motor Club.
Interesting now, because we've got the leader closing down on the tail enders. Won't be very long before Dan Gore's ensconced in traffic. He goes into paddock for the 12th time. 45.05 is his best lap. 45.07 last time through.
And he's you've got Gunlaga Jonasson there on screen doing battle with William St James as well. So they're having their own private battles. The leaders are coming through, which is the last thing that Dan Gore needed, but he has cleared them. And
it's given him a cushion, because as they come up to Surtees, Higginson is still stuck behind a couple of those lap cars.
And it means that Gadd's right with Higginson now as well.
Higginson's had to go wide round clearways, and now Gadd is in his slipstream.
Yeah, he is. So as they're lapping Jonasson and William St James, David Tagg just ahead of them as well. That means that Dan Gore's gap has gone out to 1.63 seconds over Higginson in 2nd place. No personal best lap times, unsurprisingly, that time through with the impact of the traffic. And you could just see Westworth and Pollard going through in 5th and 6th positions. Pollard still getting used to something a lot quicker than the Formula V WEV that he piloted to the championship last season.
Okay, Cole in the pink car being overtaken by the 17 there, which is Chaz Hyton.
Yeah, that's for 10th place.
Novice cross on. Hyton has engine cover.
It's good to see Cole has really made progress there over the last couple of seasons. She's up there in the midfield now. She was usually right towards the back of the field, but good to see that she's moved forward this season.
Yeah, hopefully she can find some reliability to go with it and consistency, because that also builds confidence, doesn't it?
That's right. Not seen much of Ben Huntley in 7th place, but he's going pretty well in the number 96 car, the X-Compact Cup race. He has an inauspicious start to his F1000 career. He was involved in an incident at Beckett's on the first lap of his first race. It also involved, I think, Sam Satchwell and William St James as well, that one. 4.5 minutes remaining here, 13 laps gone. We're expecting probably 20 laps out of this.
Yeah, and the lead 1.73 to Dan Gore. He's up into paddock. You see the Katie Cole through there. Leaders in the background going up towards Druids.
There's Gad. And he's still there in 3rd place, half a second behind Higginson at the beginning of this lap. There's Higginson just ahead of him.
Yeah, Higginson looks to have the measure of Gad at the moment.
Yeah, he had a 3rd and a 6th, did Higginson, at Silverstone in the opening meeting of the season. His 2nd year this in F1000, having come back to racing with the 750 Motor Club. Good to have him back, and it's interesting that a lot of drivers in this field have previously raced in other categories in 750MC, such as Gad in low cost, Pollard in Formula V as well.
For many, there's still that something aspirational about going and driving a pure racing car in single seaters.
And you can't get much better bang for your buck than F1000.
Absolutely not.
45 second lap times here, some of the fastest racing we'll have on the Brands Hatch Indy circuit all season.
Yeah, I think Gad now has dropped away a little bit and probably thinks, is it worth me pushing on for the last 3 minutes? I'm not going to gain anything out of this. I must stay where I am.
Grid for race 2 later on is the top 10 reversed, so at the moment Charles Heighton is going to be on pole position for the second race with Adam Walker alongside him on the front row. Be interesting to see how that shapes out, because with the lap time so even matched among the whole of the top 10, it's going to be quite difficult, you'd think, to get past
to progress. Yeah, very much so. There's the Mattel Run car of Dan Gore with that distinctive logo, the penguin, on the nose. Higginson 1.6 seconds behind. Gore picking off one by one the tail enders.
Yeah, he's just lapping Rob Bailey there, I think, in number 33, who's usually a little bit close to the pace that it has been this
Bailey
weekend.
was very wide there, trying to make room, I suspect, for Higginson to go through in 2nd place.
So it's number 80 that leads, Dan Gore, from 83, Matthew Higginson in 2nd, 12, Tom Gadd 3rd, 26, Murphy Overage 4th, 3, Tom Westwood 5th, and Craig Pollard, number 92, is in 6th position.
Gets down to 1.14 first to second, and a little bit crossed up there. The disc lock car of Matt Higginson, number 83. There's Tom Gadd in 3rd place, hopping the curb at Graham Hill Bend. Murphy Aldridge in the background coming past Rob Bailey.
Yeah, he's lost touch now with Tom Gadd, hasn't he? But well clear of Westworth and Pollard, who are still disputing 5th and 6th positions. There goes Gadd, there goes Higginson just ahead of him. Goes on to what will be the penultimate lap of this race then, a minute and a quarter left, so just about time for 2 more laps in this race. I don't think we are going to get the lap record, not in this race, because time running out. Best lap has been a 45.05 to the race leader Dan Gore, which is just about a 10th or so off the relatively old lap record.
Yeah, the top 3, 45.05, 45.11 and 45.12. So 700ths of a second splitting the top 3 in terms of their ultimate times at the moment. Might just be a little bit on the warm side.
Yes, certainly warmer than it was for qualifying this morning when we did get underneath the lap record.
Reasonable for the tyres, not so good for the engines, but you can see Higginson certainly hasn't given up. I reckon that might just be inside a second now. 0.78 of a second it is as they go on to the final lap. There's another car up ahead. They'll catch that, I suspect, during the lap.
Yeah, is that the Sebastian Malcolm car possibly that they'll be closing upon. Half a lap to go though for Dan Gore, and look how Higginson is closer again. 3/4 of a second was the gap at the beginning of this final circuit. I don't think he's quite going to be able to do it.
Could this be the best lap of the race? Could this be the 1:44 we're going to see?
Let's see, because Higginson has continued to hustle his car around the final lap, hasn't he? Gore just about able to soak up the pressure. And up to the line they come, and it's going to be a second win of the season for Dan Gore in the Swallow Hill Homes F1000 Championship. And, well, Higginson did his best lap on the last lap, a 45.08. It wasn't the 44, it wasn't a lap record, but it did get him 1/4 of a second close to Dan Gore on the last lap. So Gore from Higginson, Gadd, Aldridge, Westworth and Pollard, the top 6.
A cracking race that was.
Yeah, really fast, furious stuff. Very evenly matched drivers and cars out front.
Later in the afternoon, with a slightly cooler air potentially around that sort of 5 o'clock-ish time, then we may well see drivers dip into the 44s around here on the Indy circuit.
Yeah, or indeed tomorrow morning at 11:30 when the third race is. That would be another good opportunity for a lap record. So the rest of the field coming through to complete their races then. I think we had 17 finishers, so just Rob Wellham, last year's champion, a non-finisher then. And he'll be ruining that, and he's got, 12 minutes past 2. The final race of the day is due to start at 5:25, so probably less than 3 hours of a turnaround to get that car out for the second race of the day.
Quick to change an engine on something like this.
Let's have a look at the results now. So Dan Gore, it was 20 laps as he predicted, completed for car number 80, and he beat Matthew Higginson number 83 by 0.51 of a second. Tom Gadd was third in number 12, fourth was number 26 Murphy Aldridge, then fifth number 3 Tom Westworth, and sixth was 92 Craig Pollard, seventh 96 Ben Huntley, eighth was number 19 Sam Satchwell, ninth 14 Adam Walker, and rounding out the top 10 was Chaz Heighton, number 17 ahead of Chaos Cole, David Williams, Sebastian Malcolm and Robert Bailey. And these drivers are lapped down. Also William St James, Gunlager, Jonassen and David Tagg, with Rob Wellham only managing to complete one lap before his car cried enough.
And the top 9 drivers inside 46 seconds.
That's very true, yes.
So we're down here after the Swallow Hill Homes F1000 champion race. Winner was Dan Gore. Dan, congratulations on that win, Dan. A really good start, which put you in a good place.
Yeah, I said to you in the assembly area, just trying to get 20 clean laps together and just run my own race. And I think it's my first ever lights to flag race, the longest 15 minutes of my life.
Yeah, round here, it's so much going on. It's so quick as well.
Yeah, I was watching my rear view mirror, watching Tom and Matt, and hoping they'd keep fighting with each other. Then once they got in line of stern, they had the same pace as me, but I had a couple of seconds on them. So I was trying to look after my rear tyres and just try and match the lap times.
And obviously, such a short lap round here means you do catch the back markers, and there were 3 of them battling as well. So you must have thought, oh no.
Yeah, it got a bit exciting. It was a good place to be watching a race, but I would rather not have been part of it. But yeah, going into Druids, I ended up having to join in a 3-way battle. So I got through that fortunately, and everyone was watching their mirrors, and blue flags were good.
And the rest of the weekend might be a bit more difficult with reverse grids and things like that.
Yeah, well, I normally peak in qualifying, then tail off, so I try to save it for a bit later this time. So hopefully got something left in the tank for the second race, and that's the first Mittel 1-2 apparently. So try and get some more of those.
Well done, Dan. So Dan Gore, our winner. In second place was Matt Higginson, the second of the Mattel cars, and you had Tom right behind you, and then you were catching, and it was all going on, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was quite a fraught at the start. Reasonable get off the line. I think it was off third. And then I had Tom for at least 2 or 3 laps, trying to block him into turn 1. And then I think it settled down, and we all found a very similar pace, and enjoyed it thereafter.
Where it's so close and so quick round here, it looks quite hard to be able to overtake anyone.
I would guess so, yeah. It's pretty hard. It's quite stalemate. We get a bit of aero wash, in certain places. So it is what it is. You've got to put pressure on enough to try and get a mistake, I think.
Well, good luck later. In fact, we'll see you back here again. Then in third place was Tom Gadd. Tom, similar story for you, really. You were close to Matt, but not able to make any real move.
No, I knew if I wanted to do it, I had to do it early because of how quick the tyres go off here, and so I knew I had to get in, and I tried my best, but I had Murphy right on my tail, so I knew the moment I put a move on Matt, he was going to be right there. So once I'd got past them first 3 laps and I lost my momentum, I sort of had to just settle for it, and I was just trying to push him as much as I could in case I knew I was going to catch back markers eventually, but it just wanted to be, so I'm happy with third, good points.
And always excited driving these cars around here.
It's exciting for the first bit. When you start getting tired, it's a bit of a different story. It's sort of hanging on for dear life, and you don't no idea how long the races go on for, and you sort of just hope that when you get to the end of it, you've still got enough in the tank to keep it round.
I'll let you go and have a rest, and we'll see you here later on.
Thanks very much.
There's the top three then from the Swallow Hill Homes. F1000 champion in third place was Tom Gadd, second Matt Higginson, the race winner was Dan Gore.